Hey, what's up, y'all? So Stephen A. Smith destroys Ohtani. Let's check this clip out. Then I'm gonna come back with my commentary.
Gambling tied to baseball, specifically to a former interpreter of Los Angeles Dodgers star player, pitcher, and hitter, Shohei Ohtani, the highest paid professional athlete in North American history. The interpreter, named Ippei Mitsuhara, was fired Wednesday after it came to light that at least $1 million in wire transfers were sent from Ohtani's bank account to a bookmaking operation. Now, multiple sources have told ESPN that Mitsuhara, the longtime friend and interpreter for Ohtani, yet again I'm saying that, incurred the gambling debts to a Southern California bookmaker. That bookmaker was under a federal investigation at the time. Initially, a spokesman for Ohtani told ESPN he had transferred the funds to cover Mitsuhara's gambling debt. The spokesman presented Mitsuhara to ESPN reporter Tisha Thompson for an interview Tuesday night, a 90-minute interview. During that conversation, Mitsuhara explained his side of the story, saying he asked Ohtani last year to pay off his gambling debt. Multiple sources said that debt ballooned to at least $4.5 million eventually. He also said he'd previously placed bets and assumed they were legal. Mitsuhara also assured Tisha Thompson that Shohei Ohtani had no involvement whatsoever, does not gamble whatsoever, and that the funds were used to cover his own losses, saying, quote, obviously, he wasn't happy about it and said he would help me out to make sure I never do this again. He decided to pay it all for me. I want everyone to know Shohei Ohtani had zero involvement in betting. I want people to know I did not know this was illegal. I learned my lesson the hard way. I will never do sports betting ever again. I never bet on baseball. That's 100%. I knew that rule. We have a meeting about that in spring training. Look, ladies and gentlemen, we know what this story is about. It's about whether or not Shohei Ohtani bet on baseball. That's really what this is about. Nobody gives a damn about an interpreter. But before I get into that even more so, however, as ESPN prepared to publish the story on Wednesday, the same Ohtani spokesman disavowed Mitsuhara's account and said Ohtani's lawyers have issued the following statement. In the course of responding to recent media inquiries, we discovered that Shohei has been the victim of a massive theft, and we are turning the matter over to the authorities, end quote. But earlier, Mitsuhara told ESPN that Ohtani had no knowledge of his gambling debts and that Ohtani had not transferred money to the bookmaker's associate. Which brings me back to the big question. What are we to believe here? This is about whether or not Shohei Ohtani gambled on baseball. Slice it any way you want to. Let's cut the BS. We don't give a damn about the interpreter. The interpreter no longer works for the Los Angeles Dodgers. Who cares? That ain't what this is about. This is about whether or not Shohei Ohtani was really helping his friend out, or was his friend providing cover for Shohei Ohtani? We don't know the facts. We don't know all the facts. We have to research it. Nobody is casting aspersions on Shohei Ohtani this way. As far as I'm concerned, innocent until proven guilty. That's the American way. I don't believe in guilt until proven innocent, like folks try to do to you in a court of public opinion. But I will acknowledge this. If it walks like a duck and quacks like a duck, it ain't a damn mongoose. And in this particular case, all that means is that there is legitimate cause for suspicion because we're talking baseball. And you know when we're talking gambling and we're talking baseball, you know exactly where I'm going. Pete Rose, 1989. Bartlett Giamatti bans Pete Rose from baseball for life. For gambling on the sport as a manager for the Cincinnati Reds. I have been on the record for years. Pete Rose should be forgiven. There are men that have been let go from prison sooner than Pete Rose has been forgiven. You've got to be kidding me. I've said that many, many times. But baseball is hard and strong on that rule. There is no gambling in the sport. You got two $500,000 wire transfers that occurred last September and October. We ultimately learned that $4.5 million was compromised from Shohei Ohtani's account. That was his boy. That was somebody he trusted. I get that. an interpreter that's been with you since you arrived in America to play in the Major League Baseball. I get that. All I'm going to say is this. I got a bunch of boys. Very, very tight. I love them. I'm around them all the time. None of them have access to my bank account. In fairness to Ohtani, he's not an American citizen, even though he can speak English. He has an interpreter for a reason. Maybe Mitsuhara is the one that was going to the bank communicating on his behalf or whatever. I don't know. All I know is this. It's legitimate to ask questions. It's legitimate for Tisha Thompson. It's legitimate for Jeff Passan. It's legitimate for every baseball reporter, every investigative reporter, anybody covering the world of sports, is specifically Major League Baseball, to probe deeper. And it's also necessary for Rob Manfred and Major League Baseball to investigate this even further with the level of depth and adroitness it requires. Because this is a story you got to get to the bottom of. It wouldn't be that necessary if you had shown more leniency to P. Rose. But since you didn't, since you want to be so rigid and hardcore and unforgiving, well, then your stance is your stance. Your standard is your standard. Now, Mitsuhara says he never bet on baseball. He's got a gambling issue. He confessed it to the guys in the locker room for the Los Angeles Dodgers. They were like, all right, we feel bad for you. You're a gambling addict. So what? What that got to do with us? Then he had to confess, well, you know what? It sort of implicates Ohtani because I asked him to help pay off my debt. But now eyebrows are raised because we've recognized the position of Major League Baseball. And again, since you want to be so rigid and hardcore, now you have to be consistent. Get to the bottom of it. Find out what happened. I know it ain't popular considering the money they just invested in Shohei Ohtani. 10 years, $700 million, although 97% of it was deferred. It's still $700 million they're going to owe that man. And he's the biggest star in baseball globally, not just nationally. I understand what this means. And there's no evidence whatsoever, no indication whatsoever that he is guilty of such a thing as gambling, period, let alone gambling on the sport of baseball. But the fact of the matter is we don't know. We don't have all the evidence. And until we do, we have to probe and scratch and claw and search. Because this is the most taboo thing to ever be associated with baseball. Gambling. Ain't that what we've been told? I believe it's what we've been told. Just saying.
Hey, what's up? So we got a big scandal on our hands. That is Ohtani. And they're saying that his interpreter have been taking funds from him and gamble. But if you ask me, I don't know this for sure. This is just allegedly, but this is my opinion. And I think that there may be a chance that Ohtani gave the money to his interpreter and that guy decided to gamble for him. Because y'all need to realize that most athletes are actually, in fact, gambling on the wrong games. And this is a known fact. So we can see this in soccer. We can see this all around Europe where people are actually gambling on the wrong games. And these are big players. Pause. So what I just said is just allegedly. That is my own unique opinion. I'm not saying that this is facts, but that is what I think. And Stephen A. Smith, he's decided to go ham on Ohtani and destroy him and say that you can't be doing this. And actually I want to know what y'all think about this. So make sure to like this video, subscribe, and watch next video. So, y'all.